All right. Um, Timothy, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. Hey, Timothy, I know we got a short time, but I don't know if you know about my podcast, but anytime we have magnanimous guests such as yourself, we have to do something before we get started. It's called the over the top intro.
Okay.
That's cool with you?
Yes, do it.
Well, let's get into it. Ladies and gentlemen, my next guest hails from the hollow ground of Georgetown, South Carolina, not to be confused with his fictional places of origin, such as Palmetto Port, Whitaker Bay, and at one time he was from One Tree Hill. Remember, he was the frat guy. Since then, he has dazzled you in front of the camera and then moved behind the camera, in which he can teach, mold, and captivate anyone under the sound of his voice. And maybe it's best that he did that, because since then he has become an Emmy award-winning director, producer, and showrunner. But most importantly, to all of his accomplishments, he is diligent, humble, hungry, and his passion to create only comes second to being the doggy daddy to biscuit and gravy. Timothy Woodward Jr., welcome to the podcast.
Hey, man, listen, I'm hyped up now after that intro, so I appreciate that. Thank you. That made my day. I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
Man, I got a chance to watch this movie. Now, I am going to pick my words very carefully, not to spoil anything for anybody. But when you watch an action movie like this is what summers were made for. I don't know if you can tell by my grades, I got a couple years on you, but I would go to the movies and I would see something like this. I would wait all week, buy my ticket, sit in that AC, and just see people essentially dismember each other. And that's what you brought me back. You gave me a little bit of my childhood.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I'm glad you enjoyed it. It was fun movie to make. So,
And it seems like it.
Yeah.
It looks like you're familiar with your genre. But what, in your opinion, makes a good action movie?
I think in general, you have to have characters that have stakes. You have to have some style to it, and you have to have, fun. I mean, I think that especially nowadays after the pandemic and some other things, you have to have some fun. You know what I mean? You got to have fun, and the kills have to be gnarly. I feel like kills are important. It has to be, the stakes have to keep getting raised. The character has to be in danger. You have to connect with the character, and you got to have gnarly kills.
Now, working with Natalie Byrne, who plays the bride, how was it to direct her? Because you put her in some spots where, like I said, I don't want to give anything away, but there's some very emotional stuff, and then there's some straight up adrenaline, oh my God, fight or flight moments. How was that direction angle? How was that?
Yeah, I'm lucky that she really trusted me the whole time, because I was kind of throwing things at her constantly. And we shoot these things out of order. So it's not like she can, do it in order. So she has to know, hey, this is where I'm at. The dress is bloody here. You've got to go up in this. You've got to come down in this. And, this movie is very genre bending. We're up and down. We've got 1950s music playing to action going, so I'm lucky that she trusted me and she could do her own stunts. She comes from this ballerina world of being a former ballerina, going into martial arts, Ukrainian female lead. And she came in and just basically laid all her trust in me and said, hey, I'll follow you, do your thing. And that's what I tried to do.
Let's back up to the beginning. As a director, when you read a script like this or you see the concept of it, how did you know that this was the right project you just wanted to be a part of?
Well, I was looking for something actually to collaborate with Natalie on, and I'd gotten the script from the writer, but I didn't really, read it through thoroughly and give it the time it needed. So she resent it to me and said, hey, you were talking about collabing on something. This is a great script. You should read it. I opened it up. There's a Def Leppard quote in there, and I'm starting to read it, and I'm going, okay. And I could see it being this, like, starting off as this 1990s rom-com style. And I'm like, okay, I could do this. This is cool. Yeah, let's rock and roll. And that was the idea, man. And I see you have a Die Hard poster where it's one person against 20.
Oh
I
yeah.
love the idea that there was like 6 people ready to kill her, and she's having to hide and move around places and maneuver and stay alive.
Now, when you see things like this, and you kind of mentioned it a little bit, that it does jump different styles. You talk about the music, the rom-com style of how this starts off, and then when you go into this, for lack of a better term, Kill Bill type of vibe, when you keep jumping back and forth between this, how did you decide on that visual style where you constantly have the viewer having to reset and like, because there's something happening?
That was the idea. Basically, I wanted to, started off 1990s rom-com, and then I had then go darker. I had this playlist ready with all this music for the 50s music that I gave out to the actors. And I told my DP and my production designer, we want to make this dark with a lot of bright lights that are like blues or reds, every room having its own tone. And we decided a look and a feel that was important to look like a horror movie and an action movie. And also to go with the juxtaposition of here's this woman in a wedding dress in this dark house. It feels very, in dancing, sexy to this, and then killing, slaughtering people. So it was a very, there was a lot of juggling to figure out how do you, go from someone getting killed to bubblegum playing, and then you're jumping out to the boat where it's bright and there's this epic, big 100-foot yacht, and that's more of a serious scene, and then jumping right back into it. So there was a lot of challenges with that, and it's one thing even with the distributor, when I turned it in, they're like, how do we market this? What is this? Is it action? Is it comedy? Is it horror? I'm like, it's all, that's the idea. It's all of those things. And it's fun, and more importantly, it's entertaining, and you care about the character. That's really what I was trying to do.
Now, when you directed this, and granted, it's a lot of moving parts, especially with some of those scenes, but in those moving parts, were you a little bit more free? Did you let them let the actors improv a little bit more, or was it more like stick to the script type of thing?
No, I'm never really a stick to the script guy, like at all. I mean, I respect the script, I understand the script, and I'm definitely feel like it's a good blueprint and a guide, but I like to let the actors also have some freedom and love to hear them out. And so a lot of the dialogue did actually stick with the script, but the stage direction, where we are, how we did it is very different, than the script was. The original script was in a log cabin on the lake, and it was a little more straight up. And now, we're in a different location in the woods. There's a dirt bike instead of a boat. There's a lot of things that changed. The character that Pancho Mueller played with T-Bone, that didn't exist. The chainsaw didn't exist. We added that stuff in there. So there was a lot of things that we kind of tried to elevate, which the screenwriter was completely happy about, him and his partner. And we tried to add on to, because I just wanted to make it feel different. And I wanted it to feel, again, like an action movie, but also like a horror movie, also like a comedy.
Okay. Now, when you give your actors that type of freedom, it also kind of gives them a chance to surprise you. Did anyone in the cast surprise you with maybe a direction, maybe an idea you didn't even think of?
Yeah, for sure. Like Pancho Mueller came up to me and he's like, hey, what if I jump out of this refrigerator, in the one scene where he's like stuck and he's been freezing it to death. And, he came up with that idea. And then, there was several places where Cam had an idea where we were over, and Cam, who's playing the best man, and, we added this best man speech that he's trying to deliver the entire time. And he had a few ideas with that, and Orlando Jones. And it was a very collaborative set where, I got to work with a lot of these guys and hear their thoughts and stuff like that. So it was fun.
I know we're getting up against it, so I got two more questions. And I have to ask, this is selfish right here. What was your favorite kill?
Oh, that is tough. Two. I'll give you two.
Okay.
Let me see. How do I say it in code? Chainsaw.
Yep.
and the one by the piano.
Okay. I like that too. Chainsaw right here. That I'm not giving it away, but yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That was and originally I had Meatloaf, so I would do anything for love playing while I was editing that. But I pulled it out because I was like, it might be too much, but it was and I didn't get it licensed, but I pulled all the music out of that, and I'm glad I did, because it's very effective,
Yeah.
It's not
That's
like
what,
we just used the chainsaw out of nowhere. You know, the chainsaw's earlier and it's well deserved, and so that's what.
yes, it was very foreshadowing when it happens, and then when you see it, like, oh yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. So, and we hope, you even forget about that character for a little while, because he's gone for a while and then comes back. So fun.
Okay, and last question. It's kind of a two-parter, but I'm very curious. What are some of your upcoming projects? Because even in this movie, I feel the concept of the university was so you could do so much more with that and explore that. So
Yeah, no. So right now I've got a book that's a famous book that I got hired to direct with a pretty big name actor that's coming up. But with this, we definitely planted the seeds for a part 2 and potentially franchising it out. Like, I would love to jump into this world again. I had so much fun with it. And the university, if you watch it, there's a little thing, there's an after credit scene.
yes,
Yeah, so we put an after credits, and we did that on purpose because we're a truly independent film, so we need everybody to come out and see it. But if they do, we're definitely going to make a part 2 because we want to. We have one already in the works, and we want to do it.
I feel the university was, even though it was mentioned and the seeds were planted, it's so much more you could do with that world.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. And we can have a lot of fun with it. And we have a few ideas of a way of doing it where it's still with the wedding theme and effective, and still plays into the anniversary of it. And so there's like a lot of cool, again, I'm looking at a poster behind you, and that's all I can say is flipping the script a little bit where they're not after her now, she's after the university,
That works.
She comes in and there's, they're in a place. So anyways, it's an idea. So we've got something floating, and we hope it's successful because I would love to do it.
I would love to see it. But Timothy, I know we got a very short time, so I thank you so much for jumping on the podcast, man. You're welcome back anytime. Keep making some good stuff like that. That was awesome.
All right, man. Thank you. I'm so glad you enjoyed it, and I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. And thank you for the epic intro that made my day.
Oh, thank you so much, man. You have a great one.
Thank you, Sam.
All right. Bye.
Bye.